Recently, someone asked me why I haven't been making YouTube videos. It's an interesting question, and I would say that the biggest reason is probably because I was going through a very major loss. I lost my mother at the end of 2021 after she battled melanoma for about 3 years. I spent the last 6 months with her, taking care of her, and caring for her was the only responsibility I had. And my sole purpose at the time was to take care of her as well as I could so that I would have absolutely no regret afterwards, no matter what happened. And during those months, I witnessed some extremely disturbing and traumatizing events in the hospital with her. Because I'm an only child and my parents were really depending on me emotionally and physically from being her caretaker, I made the subconscious decision to remove myself emotionally from those situations as much as I could and dealt with those situations from the observing role. In other words, I suppressed my emotions during that time so that I could be there for my family the best I could. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there during my mom's passing. She passed away about 12 days after I left to come back to my own family, my kids and my husband. Perhaps because of that lack of closure, I didn't really have the opportunity or the environment or the setting to release a lot of my emotions. What ended up happening was that over the course of the following year, I went through this very chaotic, unpredictable, and just slow, I would say, release and evolution of grief. I could call it grief now looking back, but at the time it felt like a million other things. It would take 10 videos pretty much to unpack. But basically, I wasn't capable of sitting down and talking to you like this at that time. I think that's because at that time, the shakeup was so great that I literally felt like the person that I was no longer existed. Whenever I tried to make a video, which I tried many times actually, I even completed editing them, and one of them I was going to upload. I watched it and I was like, I can't post it because that person talking in there is like, how do I explain this? It's as if the old me was already dead, but like the new me was still in the long process of being born, which was the grieving process. So I was kind of like this zombie state, and the things that I was trying to put out there just felt so contrived and so forced. I couldn't even bear watching them. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to wait until I feel a little more whole again, until the new me has emerged. My neighbor is like watering on me. So that was the main reason. A secondary reason was that I started feeling like a fraud. I think that's what people call the imposter syndrome. It was mainly because of the yoga video that blew up around that time. I felt like, who am I to make these videos telling people to be persistent and consistent when actually I had stopped practicing? During the last 2 months of my stay with my mom in the hospital, as the reality of her passing was starting to set in, it felt as if all that life energy within me that kept me waking up early every morning just drained like a battery. And at that time, I also felt this aversion towards the Ashtanga practice that I was practicing every day. Maybe it was just because it was a very demanding practice that I just physically didn't have the energy to keep up with. Maybe I have some kind of bad association with it. It also made me feel a little sick to my stomach when I practiced it. But anyways, it was a very humbling experience. All the troubles I have ever experienced prior to this pale in comparison in terms of the level of difficulty and the depth of emotional pain. And now that I feel myself again, a updated version of myself, and I am ready to honor the urge I've been feeling to share again. I want to share openly about my journey and takeaways, my experiences, and the things that I care about, things that bring me joy, things that trips me up. And I want to continue to create this space for myself, to be myself. It's good to see you all, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.